one subject that certainly any administration in your place would not like to bring up, but I want to bring up in any event, is the fact is that we've now gone 2.5 years and we have not had another incident in the United States, even remotely comparable to 9/11. In your view, there have been many such horrific incidents in other parts of the world from Al-Qaeda or Al-Qaeda lookalikes. In your view, have the measures that have been taken here in the United States actually reduced the amount of terrorism or simply displaced it and caused it to move elsewhere?
I believe that we have really hurt the Al-Qaeda network. We have not destroyed it. And it is clear that it was much more entrenched and had relationships with many more organizations than I think people generally recognize. I don't think it's been displaced, but they realize that they are in an all-out war, and so you're starting to see them try to fight back, and I think that's one reason that you're getting the terrorist attacks that you are. But I don't think it's been displaced. I think it's just coming to the surface.
Well, maybe you don't understand what I mean by displacement. Yes. Do you not think that Al-Qaeda and these terrorist entities are now engaged in terrorism where they think it's easier than it would be in the United States? That's what I mean about displacement.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I didn't understand the question. I think that it is possible that they recognize the heightened security profile that we have post-September 11th, and I believe that we have made it harder for them to attack here. I will tell you that I get up every day concerned because I don't think we've made it impossible for them. We're safer, but we're not safe. And as I said, they have to be right once, we have to be right 100% of the time. But I do think that some of the security measures that we have taken, some of the systemic and systematic security measures that we have taken have made it a lot harder for them.
9/11 attack was a complex international operation, the product of years of planning bombings like those in Bali in 2003 or Madrid in 2004. While able to take hundreds of lives, can be mounted locally. Their requirements are far more modest in size and complexity. They are more difficult to thwart. The U.S. government must build the capacities to prevent the 9/11 scale plot from succeeding. Those capabilities will help greatly to cope with the lesser, but still devastating attacks. Complex international terrorist operation aimed at launching a catastrophic attack cannot be mounted by just anyone in any place. Such operations appear to require time, space, and ability to perform competent planning and staff work, a command structure able to make necessary decisions and possessing the authority and contacts to assemble needed people, money, and materials. Opportunity, space to recruit, train, select operatives with the needed skills and dedication, providing the time and structure required to socialize them into the terrorist cause, judge their worthiness, and hone their skills. A logistic network able to securely manage the travel of operatives, move money, and transport resources. Access, in the case of certain weapons, to the special materials needed for a nuclear, chemical, radiological, or biological attack. And opportunity to test the workability of the plan. Al-Qaeda exploited relatively lax internal security environments in Western countries, especially Germany. It consisted the environment in the United States so hospitable that the 9/11 operatives used America as their staging area for further training and exercises, traveling into, out of, and around the country, and complacently using their real names with little fear of capture. Fine sanctuary terrorist organizations have fled to some of the least governed, most lawless places in the world. The intelligence community has prepared a world map that highlights possible terrorist havens using no secret intelligence, just indicating areas that combine rugged terrain, weak governance, room to hide or receive supplies, and low population density, with a town or a city near enough to allow necessary interaction with the outside world. Large areas scattered around the world meet these criteria. Talking with American and foreign government officials and military officers on the front lines fighting terrorists today, we asked them, if you were a terrorist leader today, where would you locate your base? Some of the same places come up again and again on their lists. Places like Western Pakistan, Southern or Western Afghanistan, the Arabian Peninsula, especially Saudi Arabia and Yemen, the Horn of Africa, including Somalia and Kenya, Southwest Asia, from Thailand to southern Philippines to Indonesia, West Africa, including Mali and Nigeria, European cities with expatriate Muslim communities, especially cities in Central and Eastern Europe, where security forces and border controls are less effective. In the 20th century, strategists focused on the world's great industrial heartlands. In the 21st, the focus is the opposite direction, toward remote regions and falling states. The United States has had to find ways to extend its reach, straining the limits of its influence. Every policy, every decision we make needs to be seen through the lens. If, for example, Iraq becomes a failed state, it will go to the top of the list of places that are breeding grounds for terrorist attacks against Americans at home. Similarly, we are paying insufficient attention to Afghanistan. The rule of the Taliban or warlords and narco-traffickers may reemerge, and its countryside could once again offer refuge to al-Qaeda or its successor. 9/11 recommendation, the 9/11 Commission recommendation is this. The U.S. government must identify and prioritize actual or potential terrorist sanctuaries. For each, it should have a realistic strategy to keep possible terrorists insecure and on the run, using all elements of national power. We should reach out, listen to, and work with other countries that can help. That's the end of the chapter. I'm going to give my thoughts. Now, the latter statements of this passage, where it states that if we are paying insufficient attention to Afghanistan, the rule of the Taliban warlords and narco-traffickers may reemerge as its countryside and could once again offer refuge to al-Qaeda. Now, isn't that pretty prophetic? In that the U.S. government, most notably the executive and the federal branch, and their foreign policy analysts, as well as the Department of Defense, had failed there magnificently, to the point where the Biden administration, the Trump administration, the Obama administration, and the Bush Jr. administration all failed in their endeavor to have the Department of Defense reach a exemplary conclusion regarding the elimination of Taliban and al-Qaeda. However, we did decimate al-Qaeda, but not totally. Al-Qaeda now, currently, serves at the severance of the Taliban government. In fact, they're bigger and more weaponized now than they ever been under bin Laden. And this makes them far more dangerous. Where bin Laden and Dr. Ayman al-Zawahiri were known to be very grandiose in front of a TV camera, announcing their plans and why they were attacking. It's not the case with al-Qaeda anymore. They learned from their mistakes. And their mistakes were that they attacked big. And they were prone to big ideas, which basically put them on the map of the intelligence services. Now, they did not name a successful emir, as bin Laden and Dr. Ayman al-Zawahiri are dead, and others like Abu Hafs al-Masri, Mohammed Atef is dead, and others in prison like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, Ramzi bin al-Shib, Mahmoud Salim, Abu Zubaydah indisposed. But others like Saif al-Adil are still around, who are basically running the group along with Hamza bin Laden, the unofficial emir. The Taliban sees the bin Laden family as worthy heirs of the group. Al-Qaeda split into two factions, one that was against the planes operation and one that was for it. But later on, those that were for the planes operation are all dead or in jail. The ones that were against are now hidden away somewhere in the regions of southern Afghanistan or on the border of Pakistan, Balochistan, and Afghanistan. And these groups are now coexisting with other groups, which makes them even far more dangerous than what they previously were. And countries like Syria, Sudan, Yemen, parts of Iraq are now going to coexist on a common enemy. And with the latest Gaza crime, I don't know what else to say it other than a disaster of epic proportions by the West itself. May I quote Jesus Christ in this matter, and I'm an atheist, that violence begets violence. Those who live by the sword will die by the sword. So not going or given any leeway to terrorist groups, but we are going to feel the after effects or the blowback of this, just like we did in Afghanistan in 1989, when we left the country in 2 civil wars, which killed more people than the previous 10 years with Soviet occupation. The wars in Bosnia and Herzegovina, the war in Yugoslavia, the Israel-Gaza issue, Iraq. Now, today, it extends from Syria to Libya to Iraq again, Gaza, Lebanon. All this will come back to hurt us, but in ways that we are not accustomed to. They won't be hijacking any more planes. They won't be announcements in the media. It will be surprise attacks that will paralyze a public that is already psychologically undergoing various stresses of their government's malfeasance.